The investigation into police corruption and organized crime is raising questions about how data in what's supposed to be one of our most protected institutions can be accessed and then, in this case, allegedly passed on to dangerous criminals. Here to discuss more is Ann Cavoukian, the former Privacy Commissioner of Ontario. And thank you so much for being with us today.
My pleasure. Thank you.
I want to ask you first, how much concern is there about this?
I think it demonstrates the vital need to protect data at its origins. Hospitals, for example, have patients' information. It obviously wasn't strongly protected. It wasn't encrypted. These criminals, these thieves, gained access to it, and that's the problem with keeping information without the necessary security measures that are needed to protect that data from unauthorized access by third parties, which is exactly what happened here today.
And I think it also raises a question that I think many in the public are asking right now is whether or not, as Torontonians, as Canadians, we're aware of just what sort of public data the Toronto police keeps and sort of how that database works.
And that's a very good point, because the police, of course, have access to massive amounts of personally identifiable data. And you would think that they would have the strongest measures possible to secure that data, which they may or may not have in an unauthorized manner. And obviously, they didn't have secure protections here. Look at how all this unauthorized access to the information has jeopardized that information and put it in third parties' hands where it does not belong.
And I'm wondering, as your role when you were Privacy Commissioner of Ontario here, if you ever dealt with anything like this before, if you know of similar cases.
Nothing as bad as this. When I was Privacy Commissioner for a long time, 3 terms, we were vigilant with especially the police and government agencies that the data that they had been entrusted with had to be strongly protected. And so they were, they wanted to keep me off their backs, and they strengthened their protections. I fear that that level of strength for the security of the data that has been collected by these agencies has not continued. And that's the example you have right here.
Going back to this police database here, do we know what sort of information is being kept there, whether it's information related to officers or victims or alleged suspects?
That's a very good question. What we need to do is examine all of this. I would urge the Privacy Commissioner to go in and do an audit of what levels of information, at what level of identifiability in terms of the data the police retain, and for how long. And most importantly, what protections do they have associated with that data? What protective security measures? I'm guessing it's quite weak.
You mentioned the audit there. Along the lines of this investigation, even in the press conference with the police chiefs yesterday, there were questions about what comes next here. We heard Chief Myron Demkew talking about him asking for review here in situations where, institutions reveal, or there's allegations that information was accessed through a trusted institution. What needs to happen in these situations?
Well, that trust has evaporated, clearly. And that's why I would urge an independent body like the Privacy Commissioner to go in and do an audit of the levels of protection that really exist. I'm guessing that the levels of protection are very weak, and then they need to be strengthened dramatically. That's why I would urge some movement in this area in terms of auditing this data.
Okay, some serious allegations being made against the police officers, as we've been telling you here on CityNews 24/7. Again, we do note that these allegations have not been proven in court. Ann Cavoukian, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us.
My pleasure, as always. Thank you.